Have you ever wondered what are the most rewarding crops to grow in your garden and which ones are actually going to bring down the grocery bill and make a difference in your world? Well, I'm here today to give you 6 crops that are absolutely wonderful to grow, whether you're a beginner or advanced, that most definitely will not only bring down the grocery bill, but guarantee you a harvest. So number 1 on this list, not in any particular order, but because it always comes to my mind when I'm thinking of top crops, is tomatoes. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. If you're a beginner, you gotta grow a tomato. The reason for that is because you're always guaranteed to harvest so long as you're giving them lots of sun, and they're great for containers, they're great for in-ground, raised beds, you name it. They're such a versatile plant. They can be used in salsas, they can be eaten fresh, they can be used in tomato paste, sauce, you name it. What I will say though is if you're a beginner or you're unsure of the tomato world or you haven't done well in the tomato world yet, I encourage you to get different varieties or a large number of varieties. The reason for this is because every tomato will have different characteristics. So for example, we have a beefsteak that's great for slicing and a later harvest, and then we could have the early girls, which are smaller, great for fresh eats, great for canning, you name it, but they yield a little bit sooner in the year. When we have a mix of variety and different harvest time, we are able to beat different factors that may come into play throughout our summer. So for example, if we get a pest or a mildew or a frost, you name it, every variety will be able to handle these conditions a little bit differently, and that's where diversity is key. So I always like to tell people to aim for 3 varieties of diversity. So this could be cherry tomatoes, a beefsteak, and an early girl. So that the Manitobas are considered an early girl variety. Those 3 are great options, or you can mix and match this in different ways, maybe with different colors, etc. and so forth. But you don't want to get all beefsteaks, you don't want to get all early girls, and you don't want to get all, tumbler tomatoes. So go for 3 different varieties. Tomatoes, hands down, will bring down that grocery bill solely because you can have a tomato sandwich for lunch. And that's like the whole meal is all tomatoes. So it's just wonderful. Wonderful addition. Next up, and this is because it's a cash crop, is herbs. Now, herbs can be grown in containers, grown in the ground, you name it. The key here is to harvest what's left over at the end of the year, or at a minimum, bring it indoors. So when we're growing herbs, basils, oreganos, parsley, you name it, we're able to fresh eat that for the entire summer. There's no reason why that will not last you the entire summer. And then once everything's full grown, the garden's starting to slow down, we can then cut that back, bring it indoors so we don't have to repurchase the plant or the seed or anything like that, and or bring what we have indoors and then dehydrate it. This can be a simple hang and dehydrate. It can be used and you're going to grind it down. I can guarantee you if you do this in a container, a 5-gallon pill bucket per plant type or per spice type, you will have enough herbs to last you the entire year. You'll never buy an Italian seasoning mix again. You will have enough for that. So herbs, very easy to grow, great for shade, great for sun, whatever condition you're in, these guys will do well. So herbs, definitely a garden favorite that beginners, advanced, you name it, will grow and have to grow. Number 3 is a very specific pepper. So peppers in general, I personally think is a great beginner crop because they go in containers, and I would only ever grow a pepper in a container, only ever in a container, because the pepper roots and stuff need to bottom out. This is a very common theme among pepper plant growers. If you ask the pro pepper plant people, they will tell you it needs to be in a container. I realized this very early on in my pepper growing life that they do well in containers, they do not do well in the ground. Now with that being said, people often will go for the bell peppers because everyone's like, my kids like bell peppers. I can put bell peppers in pasta. It's a very versatile plant. I will give you that. However, they don't yield very well. So a great alternative to this is the Hungarian hot wax pepper. Now they're not hot. They're not hot. They taste identical to bell peppers, but they are prolific as jalapenos. So they're really quite large peppers. They are yellow, so they're a very cool color, and they are prolific in the sense that they make as many fruits as a jalapeno. However, they have the same flavor as a bell pepper. So they're child-friendly, husband-friendly. Who doesn't like spicy stuff? Mine doesn't. Very easy to germinate, so they're not like the hots and the super hots where they take 14 days to germinate. Very, very quick to germinate. You can buy them in 6-packs, you name it. Great, great beginner fruit that will definitely lower that grocery bill. So number 4 is zucchini. I put zucchini on the list because I personally think it's an awesome beginner plant and a plant that I think everyone should have at least one of. Now, you don't want to grow a bunch of these because they're very, very prolific. You will have zucchini coming out of the wazoo even if you put one plant in. Now, with that being said, zucchini can be frozen. It can be shredded and frozen for for breads and stuff in the future. It can also be dehydrated and made into a flour. Yes, a gluten-free flour. You can be extra bougie if you grow a zucchini plant. So zucchini is hands down something you have to grow. It will definitely lower the grocery bill because you can do zucchini soup, zucchini boats, stir fries, you name it. You'll have endless zucchini. You'll have at least one zucchini meal a week for the entire summer, guaranteed. Next up is cucumbers. The reason why cucumbers makes the list is because, again, very simple to grow. They can be trellised, but they don't have to be trellised. They can just be left to run on the ground. A lot of things like that are fresh, kind of crunchy greens, like snap peas, for example, they don't do well unless they're trellised. Because cucumbers we can let sprout on the ground, we very quickly realize that the expense to get these crops going and keep them happening is very, very low. You can do pickles with these, you can do relishes with these, and of course you can do like cucumber salads, you name it, fresh eats, kids love them, all around great vegetable to grow. These, again, I would go for variety. That's my personal preference. Diversity is key always in a garden. So I wouldn't just go with one variety here. I would go for a wide variety. I would go for pickling version. I would go for burpless, maybe some long English. More variety, the better. You're gonna notice, if you're a beginner, that cucumbers have different flavors. So you want to try out different varieties, see what flavors you like. Some can be a little bit bitter, depending on how you harvest them and how you go about getting them ready to eat. Some have different textures. So again, something to look at there. So go for variety. Go for a minimum of 3, always. And this could be literally one plant of each. You don't have to complicate this at all. And then last up is greens. But, there's a big but here. There are some greens that are better than others when it comes to fast yielding and actual good performing, where things like flea beetles and stuff are not going to take it out. I will say bok choy, hands down, is number 1 there. Bok choy can be very easily grown indoors, but bok choy is a great one for cold climates, and it will give you that really early spring all the way to late fall harvest because they are a little bit frost tolerant. So these can get in the garden ASAP type thing. So bok choy is my personal greens favorite. I would stay away from heads. So beginners out there, romaine, iceberg, anything that's a head of lettuce or greens, cabbages are difficult to grow compared to leaves. So spinach, arugula, loose leaf lettuce are easier to grow than that of head. If you're going to choose between the two for a salad, I would go with loose leaf. And if you're gonna go with lettuce at all or greens at all to bring down the grocery bill, do it in waves. So when you get your pack of seeds, you'll do 1/8 of the pack of seeds. So however many heads of lettuce you eat kind of in a week, do 7 plants, for example. Maybe you want a head a day. So you'll do 7 plants that first week. You're going to wait 2 weeks, and then you're going to do another 7, and then wait 2 weeks, do another 7. And you're just going to continue that through the entire summer. So you're continually harvesting. If you put everything in at once, you'll end up with bolting, and your your lettuce will end up kind of tasting a little bit sour and gross. If you're running into that, you want to look into something called wave planting. So a little tip there. But with that being said, that is my hands down absolute must grow crops, regardless. Beginners, advanced, you name it. You gotta grow these crops. They're awesome, awesome additions. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.